Very important video, and I hope you pay very close attention, because when that trumpet sounds and the rapture of the church takes place, the church is removed. There are people that are going to be left behind, that are going to be removed against their will. They're going to be placed in handcuffs and put in rail cars with shackles. They're going to be taken in vans, police vans, FEMA, Homeland Security, as we've seen with Hurricane Harvey and with Hurricane Irma in Florida. But you're going to be removed against your will if you're left behind, if you have not accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Once the church is taken, and you're going to be put in a FEMA concentration camp. And it's already begun. I'll explain in just a moment. Good morning, YouTube, my beloved, precious, wonderful, amazing brothers and sisters. It is September 12th, 2017. Gather around. I'm going to begin with a little bit of coffee. Let me know what you're going to share with Pastor Dave this morning. Very, very urgent warning. It's already begun. The FEMA roundup has been taking place, and big time with Hurricane Irma in Florida. Let me know what you're going to share with Pastor Dave. I want to begin by thanking precious sister Darby, who sent me a YouTube video, and I'm going to go to that YouTube channel in a moment, where in Florida, against their will, they started to round up the homeless population and taking them against their will, those that refused to go willingly. They brought in a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist diagnosed them with a mental illness. They were placed in handcuffs and removed. They were saying they're doing this to protect them from the hurricane that was coming. But let me take you, there's more to the story. Let me take you to this video real quick. Now, this is the video that was sent to me, and I did watch it. It's by Extreme Reality Check. Irma, FEMA camps, Miami rounds up people against their will and holds them captive. And I was reading some of the comments, and some of the people were pretty harsh, saying, what should they do? Just let the homeless drown? Leave them there during a hurricane and let them drown in the floodwaters? And but I want to go to the actual article. And I want to agree with this YouTuber, Extreme Reality Check, who I'm subscribed to, and I recommend you subscribe also, because there's a valid point here, and I want to, let's go to the article. Let me see if I can move this up a little bit. Exclusive, Miami homeless removed against their will. Let me play this.
I have another man coming. I got a guy. Police and social workers organize a plan to get some of the 1,000 plus homeless people off the streets of Miami and into shelters before the deadly, powerful Category 4 Hurricane Irma hits Florida.
Anybody that's still staying on the streets, they're going to die. They're going to die. So we going to park first.
Loading into shuttle vans, the team, led by the Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust, heads to Bayfront Park in downtown.
Today, what we're doing is we've made a decision that all of those individuals, the homeless individuals in our community, oftentimes consider...
And if you look in the background, you're going to see the police and their flashing lights, and it's just a flashback of what happened in Flint, Michigan, when the police did a sting, a roundup of the homeless, arrested them, gave them tickets, and got them off of the street in Flint, Michigan. All of the tents that we provided for the homeless and their homeless camps and food, they ransacked the homeless camps. They burnt down the tents so they couldn't relocate. We did relocate them, but the same image in the background, removing them against their will. We know what happened in San Francisco a few years ago. They did a complete roundup of the homeless and put them in what they called a shelter, but it had just like a prison, barbed wire, with the barbed wire facing in, so you can't get out, and armed guards. It was an actual FEMA camp in Detroit, Michigan. They come in white vans, police vans, and they round up the whole homeless and get them off the street, put them in the back of these white vans, and take them to who knows where. So I just wanted to make that point real quick.
The least, the lost, the last, and the forgotten. We're reminding them that they're not forgotten.
Don't do that to them, man.
With psychiatrists on site, ready with Baker Act paperwork. 5.
Psychiatrists on site, because they want to declare them if they won't leave of their own free will, that they are mentally ill, label them as mentally ill if they won't go along willingly. Something we all need to think about. If you don't go along of your own will when they come to round you up, it begins with the homeless first. It begins with the homeless. The least of these, what we call the invisible people, those that you see holding a cardboard sign and they're just hungry. A lot of them are Christian. It begins with the poor, the ones that can't defend themselves. If they don't go willingly, then they bring in psychiatrists and these diagnoses of mental illness. That's how it's going to happen when they round you up into a FEMA camp. I'll be right back. And if you notice, the gentleman was being led away, the homeless gentleman, by the police in handcuffs against his will. And I do want to make a correction. I said, it was a couple of years ago, I said San Francisco, but I meant South Carolina, where they rounded up the homeless and put them in what they called a type of a shelter, but it was actually a prison. It had the barbed wire fence with a barbed wire facing in, and they had armed guards. The homeless, once you went in, you could not leave. It's kind of like the Hotel California. You can enter, but you cannot leave. And that is coming. Now, with Hurricane Harvey in Texas, it was a mandatory evacuation. But a lot of the residents, they rode out the storm. They had to bring in helicopters and drop ladders and ropes and rescue residents from the rooftops of their homes because they refused to leave. Same thing with Hurricane Irma. Many residents, they wanted to wait out the storm, and they didn't listen to the mandatory evacuations. They stayed put. And I was watching, I believe it was on Fox News, where a captain and 2 crew members, they had to rescue yesterday because they stayed on their boat, and they had to bring in rescue teams to rescue them. The residents in Texas, with Hurricane Harvey and in Florida, that didn't want to follow any orders of evacuation, no one came ahead of time before the storm and said, you have to leave now or we're going to forcefully make you leave. There were no forced evacuations. It was only on the homeless. It begins, brothers and sisters, with the ones that are poor, the homeless that can't speak for themselves and can't defend themselves. And from there, it's going to lead to you. You need to call on Jesus today. I just want to get your opinion in the comment section. No one else was forced. No forced evacuations. No one else was put in handcuffs because they decided to not leave during Hurricane Harvey or Hurricane Irma. Ministry announcements. I'll be in Flint, Michigan today, and no offerings at all to our ministry and outreach to the homeless. If you find it in your heart, pray first. Pray before giving to any ministry. If you find it in your heart to support God's ministry to the poor and to the homeless in Detroit and Flint, Michigan, Pontiac, and all surrounding areas, we're doing the very best we can. I'll put all the links below. Leave me a comment.